Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the All Star Wrestling Review Series for the 24th of March 1979. And again, loving this 1979 series. We'll be doing a bunch more old school stuff in the weeks and months to come, provided that my schedule allows. Anyway, um, Steve Travis is here. He is pretty well excited about being the Rookie of the Year. He understands that he's now got a target on his back, as Vince McMahon tells him. I didn't even know that WWE, WWF at the time, did a series like that as something of a nature of a Rookie of the Year type thing. Maybe it was just a one-time thing. Ted DiBiase up first here, and by the way, Travis ends up giving away a bunch of flowers and other such things, just kind of as a goodwill gesture to try and get the fans behind him. Although he didn't really need to worry about doing that because they were already there. Anyway, so Ted DiBiase in an enhancement match, he is the North American champion. They're pushing that pretty heavily. Of course, that belt over the series of 1979 becomes, in the, I believe, summer months, the Intercontinental Championship. They kind of move away from the North American Championship. I always kind of wondered if that was a knock or nod, one of the two, to Bill Watts at the time in the Mid South Territory. Of course, Watts didn't really take over until the mid to late 70s, but the idea that maybe they acknowledged that takeover as a thing could be there. Anyway, so we move to the Ted DiBiase match, which, to be honest, is pretty simple. We kind of move forward into a bunch of more technical moves than is average for this particular run of things here. And obviously, the show hosted by Vince McMahon and Bruno Sammartino, including footage from the Championship Wrestling of Steve Travis being announced as the 1979 Rookie of the Year, and Vince McMahon interviewing him, featuring McMahon interviewing Greg Valentine and Grand Wizard at ringside as well. Just to be fair, this is the WWF North American Championship, not another promotions championship. DiBiase wins at 5:18 over Jose Estrada with a flying elbow drop and other basic maneuvers. Really basic stuff, nothing necessarily to write home about, but at the same time, DiBiase getting this heavy a push in this scenario is kind of ironic in that he's brand new to the area and brought in as a champion that I don't think a lot of people had great knowledge of. Headlocks, basic stuff. Rivera does take DiBiase over a little bit. Arm bars and the like, trips him up, and DiBiase really made to look like $1,000,000 here. So I don't know if there was a plan to bring him in to do more work beyond 79. It would seem that there would have to be. He also gets him in a leg grapevine and tries to get submissions on the man as well. Nothing necessarily too terribly intense, but then we see a bunch of ultimately like elbow drops and the like. Then we see Hussein the Arab, otherwise known later as the Iron Sheik, with Classy Pretty Blassie. He does the Persian clubs for what I believe is the first time here in 1979, at least in this area, swinging the clubs. If you've never seen the clubs before, it is an impressive sight. 75-pound clubs, and Sheik swinging them overhead like they're nothing. Blassie basically saying that McMahon wants to see him fail and wants to see all of that come into alignment with a failure. Also, McMahon points out the curled toe on the boots of the Sheik, and that is disturbing and unfriendly. Needless to say, that continues to be kind of a sticking point. Sheik goes in with or Hussein Arab goes in with a enhancement match here, not to be unexpected. Punch, kick, choke, basic stuff, nothing necessarily worth writing home about. Steve King, 231. King's head gets rammed into the loaded boot, and ultimately, you know, Then we move on to Fred Blassie with another individual against Mark Pole, but the individual of note is Nikita Volkov, and again, so they're doing major foreign heels here in 1979. First time they'd really done that in this particular era. Um, I don't know that they'd never done it before, but it's kind of there. But before that, we get to Greg Valentine in a promo. Valentine talks about wanting money. We talks about wanting Bob Backlund. Talks about wanting championships and glory, and the potential banning of the figure four leg lock due to the issues with Chief Jay Strongbow, which of course we've covered here in the previous past few weeks. The idea is that the figure four leg lock is to be a banned hold due to the damage done by Valentine with the hold to Strongbow. Valentine obviously becomes a major force over the next couple of years, in and out, having several matches with Bob Backlund. The enhancement talent, Mr. Pole, is no match for Nikolai Volkov. Volkov punch kick, very basic offense, still not much different than what we had before or later in his career. Anyway, punch kick and the hanging backbreaker by Volkov gets him a victory. And then we go to Greg Valentine with a enhancement match here. Valentine with the Grand Wizard defeating Frankie Williams with a submission via half grab. So not using the figure four in this particular match as the finish. I believe he does use the move, but not as a finishing hold. But anyway, I mean, it's a very basic match. Really worth going out of your way to see these, though, because so many talents who become major in the next few years are debuting at this time. And most people, know them from their 80s runs, don't know them from this. Valentine crimps the man up, tries to crimp up the legs and get as much of an advantage as he possibly can. Working on the leg, kind of doing the jump and then the leg grapevine. Valentine also hits a series, or not a series, but a single back suplex, followed by a couple of elbow drops, and ultimately Valentine takes good control of that situation. Then we see the Valiants, Johnny, Jerry, and Jimmy all coming out. Jerry and Johnny are the tag team champions in this particular inference. Some degree of consternation is attempted to be created for Captain Lou Albano and friends, as the talk of them, not necessarily being on the same page is here. Ivan Putski and Fred Curry go to a curfew 7:21. The Valiants, though not officially acknowledged as champions, even though they had won the championships on Championship Wrestling on the same day, so maybe it didn't air in all markets or something of that general nature. But anyway, kind of things are there, and ultimately coming forward in a meaningful manner. But I mean, that is ultimately kind of where things go, and it's a very basic match, although the Valiants here are major stars or focal points over the next several months here. Valiants do some bumping around for Putski and Curry. Curry gets tied up in the corner quite a bit. Arm bars, arm locks, and the like, and ultimately, there are some shots along the nature of things. Johnny and Jerry Valiant, very polarizing figures at the time. Putski comes in, tries to use a bit more of his power. The Valiants are working together in a kind of borderline cheating sort of way. Greco-Roman knuckle lock leading to a victory or a bit of a brawl here. Again, the match goes to curfew with no finish, and ultimately that will close the show. We'll be back with more right after this.